When it comes to divisive casting in Hollywood franchises, there is almost no character more divisive than Batman. As hard as it might be to believe now, people didn't want Michael Keaton to don the cape and cowl in the 80s. Not to mention when the internet nearly broke in 2012 when the news came out that Ben Affleck had been cast in Zack Snyder's rendition of The Dark Knight. And depending on what generation you're from and what kind of movies you enjoy, it's pretty much up in the air who your version of Batman would be. But one thing is for sure, Christopher Nolan's take on the Dark Knight trilogy and casting Christian Bale was an inspired choice that changed superhero movies forever. Now, me personally, I am forever a defender of Robert Pattinson's newest version of Batman. I'm a huge fan, but I gotta say, when it comes to Christian Bale and the Dark Knight movies, there's just something inside me that is on fire. So I thought it would be fun to do a special episode of Scene Breakdown today where we take a look at Batman's first appearance in all three of the Nolan movies. And I'm talking about the first time that we see full suited and booted Batman in these three movies. Then at the end, I'm gonna rank the order of which I like them, from least impactful to most impactful in my opinion. And for good measure, I have to throw in Batman's first big screen appearance in 1966, Batman the movie.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
So if you're ready, then drop a like on the video and don't forget to subscribe for the very best in movie content. I'm Kier with Joe Blow Originals, and you're watching Scene Breakdown. Alright, I am super excited to get into these scenes, so a real quick breakdown of this trilogy. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises are directed by Christopher Nolan and written by him and his brother Jonathan Nolan. Nolan has a way of taking high concepts and crazy ideas and rooting them to the ground in this reality, and it is no different for the Dark Knight trilogy. I think this is definitely the most realistic Batman stuff we've ever gotten. And while I do love when it gets wacky and weird in other universes, for Nolan's trilogy, I happen to love the gritty, kind of dark and realistic tone that he set out to make.
Who are you?
Someone like you. Someone who'll rattle the cages.
Batman Begins is an origin story of Bruce Wayne as Batman. It covers the whole thing. In general, it is a pretty good movie. I love the casting of Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul. I think that's genius. And I also love Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow, because who the f*** doesn't? So let's take a look at the scene. That this movie does is it establishes the fear of the Batman. It establishes that he is lurking in the shadows, and this being his first outing, these assholes don't know what to expect. The Batarang. I love when you see Batman using gadgets in a movie, and in a movie like this, you know, it's pretty grounded, so you're not sure how much of it you're gonna get. This was nice. This was a good way to introduce the Batman. Here. That was the first glimpse. This scene rules from here on out, I promise. It's just good to see that in Batman's first scene, we're really getting some action, some quality combat, because a lot of the movie up until this point, we see him training, you know, in the ways of martial arts and becoming a skilled fighter. It's nice to see all of that put to use in his very first scene. This is also one of those iconic suits that looked great. I remember when this movie came out, seeing that suit and thinking it looked so good and being stoked that the gold belt was still being represented. I was so happy about that. That is so good. I get chills. This was before Christian Bale went full like Doberman with his Batman voice. He was still a little bit more restrained in this one, which I really like. And the last time we had heard the words, "I'm Batman," coming from somebody, it was George Clooney in Batman and Robin.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
This is leagues better than that.
Nice coat. Thanks.
And then just to add that little bit of levity at the end, nice coat, which of course, if you've seen the movie, you'll know exactly why he says that. All right, so that was Batman's entrance in Batman Begins. It did take the movie a little while to finally give us Batman, but I promise you guys, if you haven't seen the movie, it is well worth it. And the journey to getting to Batman is interesting. Okay, but now we are gonna look at Batman's first appearance in everyone's favorite Batman movie, The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is an iconic film in and of its own. I mean, this movie, even if it was a standalone film, It was mind-blowing, the reception that this movie got, and honestly, it still deserves all of the praise and hype. The movie is just incredibly thrilling, and this was of course Heath Ledger's movie for the most part. This was really a chance for him to sink his teeth into that Joker role and show audiences why he was the right guy for the job. Because if you remember, the internet also was not happy to hear that Heath Ledger, teen heartthrob, would be showing up to play the Joker.
I mean, what happened? Your balls drop off?
But we're here to talk about Batman in this movie, so let's take a look at his entrance.
I told you my compound would take you places. I never said there'd be places you wanted to go.
I love that Scarecrow was brought back for this scene, and we see him again in Dark Knight Rises. He's in all 3 movies. I love that. It's just a nice through line. And, I mean, Cillian Murphy can't get enough of Cillian Murphy.
Pity, there's only one of you.
Famous last words. That's what we call that. And that there is the moment that you know that that is not Batman. The guy's holding a pump action gun. Now, I actually really like this fake out. Christopher Nolan intentionally wanted us to believe that Batman was there, and then that he has some kind of special power that he can sneak around the entire garage in a split second. And by the time you see the gun, you know we're dealing with Batman imposters, which is a very interesting concept that had not been explored in live action until this point.
That's more like it.
The Bat Tumbler. I still don't know about the Bat Tumbler. You know, it's a tank basically, and I get that it's way more, I guess, practical, you know, because of the safeguards and whatever comes with it. It's a lot more, you know, safe than a car, I guess. But I like when Batman just has a car. You know what I mean? I like when the Batmobile looks like an automobile, not like a tank. I don't know how I feel about it. I do love that the car is set to like intimidate, you know, and loiter. I do like that. And there's finally Batman, the real Batman. This is before he gets the official Dark Knight suit upgrade, by the way. So the suit he's wearing in this scene is closer, way more similar to the suit from Batman Begins. I think Christian Bale had a nice tan for this scene. It's so good. I just can't wait to see it. Oh, maybe the coolest shot of Batman in the whole trilogy. I don't know. There's a lot of them.
What gives you the right? What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
I'm not wearing hockey pads. Obviously, that's really when Christian Bale started to do the voice, you know, the voice that he's now infamous for doing, which, you know, I personally actually don't have a problem with the voice itself. I understand. I mean, you obviously have to hide it and sound different, but the I'm not wearing hockey pads line, I think would have just been, if that was more smugly delivered, I think it would have really been the best button to that scene possible. But in general, I mean, come on, that scene, 5 stars across the board. It's iconic. I love it so much. Now let's get into Batman's intro scene when he finally returns in Dark Knight Rises. Kind of similar to Batman Begins, this is Batman's kind of reintroduction to the world. So again, they're kind of teasing it out. They're showing little glimpses of him, little glimpses of his cape or his motorcycle before we get that full shot.
Sorry.
I love it. Just the intimidation there, you know? Sorry. It's so good. I love it. I love it so much.
Let's go. You, get in the car. They've spotted the Batman.
What do you guys think about John Blake being Robin at the end, kind of Batman's new successor? I don't know how to feel. I really don't. I get why this is how Robin had to be handled if you're gonna do him, I guess, at this time, but I don't know. Especially with rumors now that Dick Grayson is supposed to be in the Batman 2, and we're getting Batman Brave and the Bold with Damian Wayne. A lot of Robin stuff, hopefully, on the horizon. I can kind of overlook this. A lot of chasing. real big chase kind of scene, not a lot of combat. What a cast, you know? Christopher Nolan always gets great actors to be in his movies, I mean, for obvious reasons, but this cast is really loaded. I mean, getting Anne Hathaway to play Catwoman, like, that doesn't seem like something that you could get Anne Hathaway for.
Well, what do you know?
Oh, here we go. Whoops. Woo. I think also the Dark Knight Rises suit has grown on me quite a bit. You know, I used to just not be a fan of the Nolan suits in general, besides Batman Begins. I actually really liked that one. But then everything after that felt a little bit too tactile, a little bit too, like, you know, military, kind of with all the different, you know, muscle guards and all that stuff. But I still have the ones that I prefer, but this one, it is iconic. It's kind of hard to look at it now and not see Batman. For a movie as realistic as this, it is crazy to think that he could fire a cannon at a bunch of cars, nothing would explode, and it would just make a perfect ramp. But, you know, you have to overlook that, or else shit like that doesn't happen. And what good is a Batman movie without that? All right, let's take a quick look at the original Adam West introduction in 1966, The Batman.
With characteristic speed and resolve, descend promptly to the Batcave.
See, this was back when nobody had a problem with doing Robin in live action. They didn't care about how problematic it might look or seem, and personally, I miss that. I kind of just miss the whimsy of it all.
As they have done many times before, as Batman and Robin.
I mean, come on. Now, keep in mind, Adam West and Burt Ward had been doing the Batman series on TV already, so this was not the first time anybody saw them as these two characters. This is just a movie that's an extension of the show. And also, who doesn't love the Batcopter? And I love that it's not at Wayne Manor, it's like at the airport. He has to go to it. Okay, I think that is enough of that. Although I can really appreciate that movie, the scene kind of never ends. It just bleeds into the rest of the movie. Okay, so the moment you guys have all been waiting for is wanting to know my ranking. Now, of course, I'm not going to include Batman 66 in my ranking. I'm just going to be ranking Batman's entrance in the Nolan trilogies. And we're going to start with number 3, my least favorite. And that one, unfortunately, has to go to The Dark Knight Rises. I have my own things to say about the movie as a whole, but just judging that scene on its own merits, it is very drawn out, it does take a while to get to it, and there's not a lot of combat. There is action, of course, it's a chase scene, which is very fun, but at a certain point, when you're comparing it to the other two, there's just less Batman to kind of sink your teeth into for that one. Coming in at number 2, right in the middle, is gonna be Batman Begins. You probably could have guessed that, but I love the scene. I love the Batman suit. It's my favorite suit in the whole Nolan trilogy, and I love the dialogue. I just love the way the whole thing plays out. It's very scary, it's thrilling. I'm kind of talking myself into making it my number 1. No, I gotta stay on it. I gotta stay with number 2. Number 1, obviously by process of elimination, is The Dark Knight. And man, what an introduction to Batman. You get it all. You get returning characters like Scarecrow coming back. You get Batman imposters. Batman fights thugs. He fights dogs. He does Batman stuff. The cape comes into play. He uses gadgets. He uses the Batmobile. There's nothing not Batman about that scene. You literally get everything, and that is why it's well deserving of my favorite Batman intro scene in the Dark Knight trilogy. But of course, that's just my ranking. I want to know your guys' ranking. Let me know what your favorite Batman introduction scene is in the Nolan trilogy. Just rank them down in the comments, and as well, let me know what other stuff you would love to see me break down here on the channel. As always, don't forget to like the video and of course subscribe for the best in movie content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Whew, it is showtime. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys see me okay? I hope so. Welcome back to Friday Night Flicks, everybody. My name is Kier Gomes, and as usual, I'm going to be your host this evening. And guys, we got a hell of a show lined up for you tonight. I cannot wait. But first, as always, good evening. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay in the comments. Give me a little bit of a confirmation. If you can. Hello, everybody. Oh, I'm also, you know what? I'm also going to put on a little bit of music. Maybe some down-tempo music. Yeah, all right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. How's everybody's weekend going? This is the first weekend of the new year. Is that correct? No, we had one last weekend. Never mind. Happy 2025 to you all. I saw you guys on the 3rd. Never mind that. Okay, I've got some confirmation. Murphy Law says I'm good, and Jesse B also says I'm good. By the way, welcome, Jesse B. Looks like you didn't know that I work here, but you know me, which almost never happens. So I'm happy to have you here, man. Thanks for being here. All right, Hus D21 says I'm coming in loud and clear. Hopefully not too loud. Hopefully not too clear. Okay. Just kidding. I don't know what that means. So guys, tonight's show is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. As usual, I spend all week looking forward to this hour and a half that I get to spend with you guys on account of the fact that this is probably I would say my number one wind down work-wise. I spend a lot of time throughout the week watching movies, talking about movies, thinking about movies, writing about movies, for an audience that is weeks away from getting my opinions. But on live, I can just sit here and talk to you guys point blank, period. And I look forward to that every single time. Jesse B says, didn't know you were a cardist and a movie fanatic. Well, now you know, my friend. I always keep a deck of cards with me. And I would say about 90% of my life is movies. So there you go. Gilbert, thanks for being here. Hello, Gilberto Israel. Hello, sir. Hello. Collaborate with Sins TV. Is that a request, Gilberto? Is that a request or a demand? Because either way, tell him to hit me up. Yeah. I love this. Andy Joel Harper says, or Gal Gadot, she's supposed to be sick. Yeah. So guys, tonight we are going to be fan casting some characters in the DCU, okay? With James Gunn spearheading a new era of DC cinema. Hopefully something better than what we've been seeing in the past. I know that by this point, many of us have probably given up on hope that any of these films are going to be anything to write home about. But for me, I'm in the opposite camp. I'm holding out all the hope. I believe in the superhero universe that is the DCU. I believe. Now, Andy, I knew this was going to come up on tonight's stream at least once. I knew that Alan Richson, it's not Richmond, it's Richson. I knew that he would come up as Batman, and I'm sorry to disappoint you all. We will be talking about Alan Richson, but not as Batman. Ooh. Comment below who you think I would cast Alan Richson as before we get to it. How about that? And speaking of before we get to it, you guys, thank you all, by the way, for the comments so far. As usual, I'm going to try to get to these periodically. I may go on a tangent or two, miss a couple of comments. Don't hate me. Don't come for me. But I thought it would be fun, too, to also maybe go over one or two items of news floating around the movie sphere. So I think maybe just before we get into the nitty-gritty of my fan casting, before you guys all tune out on me and tell me that I suck and that my castings are whack and that if it's not Alan Richson, then no dice, before we get into all that, let's talk about some other stuff going around the superhero sphere, okay? Number one, I thought this was interesting. There has been rumors of, let's pull it up here so you can see it. Hopefully you guys are seeing that okay. There have been rumors that George Miller is in talks for a World War Hulk or Hulk versus Spider-Man and the Punisher film. Finally. Now, if you guys don't know, the Hulk is an interesting dilemma for the MCU because while they have all the rights and free reign in the world to put the Hulk in movies such as like team up movies, the Avengers, Civil War, things of that variety. Thor Ragnarok. You can see the Hulk pop in someone else's movie as the character of the Hulk. However, there is a rights issue with Marvel being able to make their own solo Hulk movie. But now that they own, I believe it's Fox that previously owned the movie rights. Now that they own Fox, it's open season. They can do whatever they want. And it looks like they're eyeing one George Miller for World War Hulk or Hulk versus Spider-Man and the Punisher. If this wasn't George Miller, I probably wouldn't even bring it up, to be honest with you guys. But it seems like this is getting a little bit of traction. It might be a little bit more than a scoop, is what I'm saying. It looks like it's possible that this is like an official, in the works piece of news. And I'm interested because obviously if George Miller is doing it, I think that there's just a higher probability that the movie will be good and grand and everything that it would need to be. Oh, Universal. Thank you, Alistair Campbell. It's Universal that owns the Hulk rights. That's right. Because The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, that's the Universal movie. And if you guys haven't seen that, I did do a video on it for my Marvel Revisited series here on the channel. So if you guys feel like checking out my thoughts on the previous Hulk movie, there you go. I think I might have also covered Ang Lee's Hulk movie. I'm not positive, but I might have done that. All right, here we go. Jesse B says, are you excited for Gunn's Superman? Receiving a lot of hate from Snyderverse fans, but overall, everyone else is optimistic that we're finally getting a new, more hopeful Superman movie. Yeah, well, first of all, Jesse, yes, I am very excited for the movie. The trailer, I talked about this on a previous live stream, so some of the regulars have already heard me kind of go down this, but I believe that the movie will be good, but the teaser trailer left a little bit to be desired for me. I like the crypto stuff. I like that the dog was part of the trailer because it tells me that there's probably a good role for crypto in the movie. And I, for one, I know that this is a hot take. I like that. I think Superman should not be taken so fucking seriously all the time. Otherwise, you lose all the fun and you end up with you just end up with Homelander if you take the fun out of Superman, right? So I like that crypto is there. I like the look of the movie. I just think I need to see a little more of what the hell's going on in the movie before I can say whether or not it's everything I want from a Superman film. Because I don't know. I think Superman 1978, we talked about this last week. I think that's still the Superman movie for me, the definitive one. But I also believe that there's more Superman out there for other audiences, and I just want some of it. I want the Superman that is more hopeful, that is more light, that has a fucking super dog. That's what I want personally. I think we got some good shit from the Snyderverse, but that's over now, and we need something new. Andy Joel Harper says, no hate, but I didn't think the Snyderverse was as bad as everyone thinks. I just didn't. It just wasn't for me. That's the thing. Keep in mind, growing up reading these comic books, I think we all kind of had an image in our heads of what the DC world would look like in live action. And for me, it wasn't the Snyderverse. I pictured the DC world looking a little different, being a little different. I pictured the characters being less jaded and a little more goofy, because let's be honest, it's a little difficult to pass all of this stuff off as straight, as serious as it gets. At the end of the day, they are wearing red underoos, as said here by Andy Joel Harper. And yes, I do like the red trunks. I do. I think Superman with the red trunks is a cool move. It's ballsy. I think that there's people that will make fun of it. But I think if you're making fun of it, then you don't like Superman. Period. That's what I think. I think if you mock the red trunks, you don't like Superman as it is. So what do you care? Who cares then? So yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I agree. Superman was never supposed to be dark and brooding. Yeah. Yeah. Alistair Campbell says, maybe too many heroes and villains in the new Superman movie. I think it's just going to depend on what they do. I think it really is going to come down to, because it looks stuffed, right? Because they have this kind of authority, right? Or they have Guy Gardner's in there. I think Hawk Girl's in there. there's potentially an Ultraman in there, so it is stuffed for sure. But I wonder. I don't know how much screen time all these people are going to. I think maybe this is just because you have to remember, this is going to be the first live action DCU project. Creature Commandos, I guess, is the soft launch of the DCU. But this is kind of the first like real movie. This is the first movie in the DCU. And they have to establish a world where superheroes, as they've said, exist and have been around for a while. And I think in order to do that, you got to have more than just Superman in the movie. And this ain't supposed to be an origin story. Metropolis knows, Superman already. They're aware of him. So I think it's okay that there's other characters because there would be other characters. I think it's just really going to depend on how much screen time these guys get, because I don't want to see the first DCU movie be a showcase of the team up, especially with the lineup of heroes they have. Don't make it a team up. Just, if they're going to be there, have them be there. But I don't think they all need to be supporting characters. I think some of them can just be kind of in and out, a couple scenes, All right, guys. What time is it? We got a little bit of time. Now, here's what I did with the fan cast, and we'll go over some more movie news if we have time at the end of the stream. But as far as the fan casting goes, the way that I wanted to do it was, obviously we already have a Superman, we've already got a Supergirl, we've already got, some of these characters, we've already got Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, and we have Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart cast already. So there are some characters that I couldn't touch because they've already been casted, which is why I should have done this last year, but I didn't, okay? So, I did pick a few characters that, for me, I think are just important to see in the DCU, but I can already tell some of you are going to have differing opinions on this stuff. Some of you are going to think that my choices are terrible. Well, the good news for you is that I'm not the casting director for any of these movies. I'm not a casting director for any movie. So at the end of the day, my opinion means nothing to any of you guys. So don't worry and don't let it upset you. If you don't like the casting, it's fine. We can still be friends. It's okay. I don't take this stuff that seriously. I don't think anybody should take this stuff that seriously, unless you're working on the movie. Then you should take it seriously. Whoa, Murphy Law, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. $9.99. Hippo character has been. Oh, this is the emoji. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for that sticker. I appreciate it. You're the best. All right, guys. Without any further ado, let's get into it. And I know what you guys want to start with. You guys want to start with Batman. Now, keep in mind, we already have David Cornsweet as Superman. So a lot of these casting choices, I'm assuming that these are characters that at some point will have to interact with David Cornsweet as Superman. So also keep that in mind, okay? I couldn't do an old man Bruce Wayne if he's supposed to be the same age as David Cornsweet, like mid to early 30s. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. All right. Well, let's start off with everybody's favorite, the Batman. All right. So we have Batman coming in first. Scott Adkins for Batman. Scott Adkins would be great in terms of like looking like Batman, but he's not a great actor. So Scott Adkins, not for Batman for me. I went with Tom Bateman. Tom Batman. Actually, if you look at his name, Tom Bateman. If you take out that E, it's Tom Batman, buddy. So I went with Tom Bateman, who you guys would know from, he was in a recent TV show called Based on a True Story. He plays the kind of the serial killer that this couple start the podcast to interview. I think he's giving Bruce Wayne to me. His notable works, obviously Based on a True Story. It's a pretty good show. It wasn't like amazing, but it was okay. And many of you will know him from the Hercule Poirot trilogy, like Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express, Haunting in Venice. I actually really like those movies. Hopefully you guys, they're directed by Kenneth Branagh, which is cool, who also directed the first Thor movie. Now, runners up, I know everybody's going to mention Alan Ritchson and Jensen Ackles as their picks for Batman. Hear me out on this, okay? Number one, Alan Ritchson. I don't like Alan Ritchson that much. I haven't seen him impress me in that much. I think people think he'd be a good Batman because he's jacked as shit and he's hot. But you have to be more than strong and hot to play Batman. And I don't think sometimes people think about that. You have to be able to be dark and brooding, which I know Alan Ritchson as Jack Reacher kind of dabbles. I think that's really the thing that sells people is the way he plays Jack Reacher. I don't think so. I think what we need is a little bit less Jack Reacher and a little bit more jazzy Bruce Wayne. I think we need a little more jazz in our Batman. Tom Bateman is not a comedic actor, but he is funny. He's not a super dramatic actor, but he's got range. So he's an actor that I think you put him as, yeah, Bateman can do an American accent very well. Watch Based on a True Story. He does an American accent. Sounds great. He sounds very convincing. Shea Wingham as Batman says Omega's Swiper. Interesting. Shea Wingham. The main reason why I think Tom Bateman can do it is if you look at him and then try to imagine him in a Batman suit talking to David Cornsweet. I see it. I don't know about you guys, but I see, when I think about like a Batman that can hit up Superman and stay in the fight with Superman, but is around the same age, but maybe just has a little more city miles on him. That's Tom Bateman. This is my guy. Just a Guy says, no Alan Ritchson, please. He's too jacked. Batman needs to be agile as well as strong. He's got to be able to move quickly. I agree. I don't need any more of this from Batman. I don't need any more Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller Batman. I don't need any more of that. I think Ben Affleck gave us big Batman, and I like Ben Affleck as Batman, but I think somewhere in between being strong. He doesn't need to be skinny like Robert Pattinson. He just needs to be not jacked. He just needs to be not bulky, But don't worry. For those of you that are die hard on Alan Ritchson being in the DCU, I have the perfect casting for him down the line, so don't worry. Josh Brolin would make a good Batman if they were going for older. Yeah, the reason why I didn't go with Josh Brolin, because I agree Josh Brolin would make a great Batman, but he's too old. He's definitely too old. I also think, if we could have had, Guy Pearce in the 90s, he would have made a good Constantine. Yeah, Scott Eastwood, I just don't think is a good enough actor to play Batman. I think that a lot of times we get so caught up in who looks like Batman, but you gotta be able to play, two parts. You gotta be able to play Bruce Wayne. You gotta be able to play Batman. And I don't think Scott Eastwood has enough. I just don't see him as the leading man Batman. Oh, Tom Bateman was Barry Sloane. Interesting. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind on the Bond movies, I guess. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. But if you ask me, Tom Bateman, I had to go through everybody, right? And I went through. Of course, I did my research, so I know who you guys want to play Batman. I know who likes Alan Ritchson as Batman. I know who likes Jake Gyllenhaal as Batman. But if I had to do it, I think this is a guy that's untapped in the mainstream. He's not an A-lister yet. But he's got credits that show he's got range. A Hartnett Batman. Yeah, he's too old, though. Hartnett's almost 50 now. So I don't want a 50-year-old Batman. This guy's got to play Batman for 20 years, 15 years. I think Josh Hartnett is awesome. And I had a few ideas for him in my cast for other characters. I ended up leaving him off of all of them. But I just don't see Josh Hartnett. He's just too old. Same thing with Josh Brolin. They both could have been great. They're both too old now. But don't worry. For those of you that don't even know who Tom Bateman is, I have many more recognizable actors on tonight's list. So let's get in to the next one. We've got Tom Bateman as Batman. Who do we have as my favorite superhero of all time? The Flash. I've got two. Now here's the thing. We're starting here. I started off with a Wally West Flash because I'm a comic book reader. I like Wally West as my Flash. I would say even I prefer my Flash to be Wally West. But, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying here, Omega Swiper. Is if Damian is supposed to be 10, Batman can't be 50. He didn't have that kid when he was 40. So if Batman's 35... that makes sense that Damian Wayne would be 10. Now, when it comes to the Flash, I prefer Wally West as the Flash, but I think that movies and the Flash TV show have kind of merged together what Wally West and Barry Allen are into kind of them both being goofy forensic scientists.
Barry Allen in the comics is not that goofy. He's like a little bit, but he's not like he's not Ezra Miller fucking ridiculous. Okay. So I like Wally. Wally's a little younger, a little more sprightly. I do think though, in James Gunn's DCU, what we could do is have two Flashes. We could have Wally West be the kind of current, healthy, young Flash that kind of, you know, interacts more with David Cornsweet, with Tom Bateman. But I also think that it would be cool to have a slightly older Barry Allen Flash who can be mentoring Wally. So I cast both. As Wally West Flash, the younger Flash, I think it would be good to go with, I'm going to wait for the reveal. It's coming. I think it would be good to go with Jack Quaid as Wally West, the Flash. Somebody, oh, George Mackey, nice. Yeah. Yeah, this is a problem I had too, Alistair Campbell. I had a problem with this too, where every actor I thought of is like 50 now, you know, because of people I grew up with. So I did have to make a few adjustments. But Jack Quaid, I think, would make an excellent Barry Allen. Dylan O'Brien would be good too. Here's what I think, okay? I think that Jack Quaid is kind of good at playing a nice person, but a nice person that you're not sure if you can fully trust. Yeah, just the guy, I have him as Wally. Yeah, not Barry, I have him as Wally. He's somebody that, like, you know, he's kind of nice, he's kind of dopey, he's a little bit like awkward, and I think that works well. But also, like, if you've seen him in Scream, spoiler alert, he's the killer in that movie, and he's believable as a menacing kind of incel douchebag. So I think Jack Quaid as Wally West is kind of perfect as an adolescent, still needs, you know, has a lot to learn, a long way to go, Wally West. I think that this is good. Now, my runner-up for this, I think Regé-Jean Page also would have made a great Wally West, but I think he's also maybe a little too serious sometimes. So, Jack Quaid for Wally West. But if he's Wally, we need to have a Barry Allen. And I think in James Gunn's DCU, it should be that Wally is the main Flash, and then there's a Barry Allen Flash that is a bit older and maybe now retired or almost retired, that kind of teaches Wally, shows him the ropes. And my pick for Barry Allen Flash, an older version of the Flash, is somebody that I actually have been trying to imagine in many DC roles for many years, and that is Michael C. Hall. Now, I think Jack Quaid as Wally West, I just think put him in a suit and you're already there. I think it would be fun to see Michael C. Hall play an older, retired Flash that has maybe hung up the golden boots, maybe like an Injustice style Flash, you know, where he's been out of the game for a long time. He almost resents being a hero in a way. Now, if you've seen, obviously, Dexter, 6 Feet Under, those are great ways to see if Michael C. Hall is up to the task. But also Date Night, which is an interesting kind of credit for me to reference. But the reason I say that is because he played the villain in John Francis Daley's Date Night. And while it's a funny movie and he was kind of like a funny villain, he was menacing. And so I kept going back and forth between, should Michael C. Hall play Barry Allen or Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash? But you guys will like who I have for the Reverse Flash. Trust me. Ooh, this is good. Omega Swiper, this is interesting. I remember wanting Ant-Man to be Michael C. Hall. Yeah, see, I think he would be good as Reverse Flash too, but again, he's a little too old. So you're going to like, don't worry, Omega Swiper, you're going to like who I have for Reverse Flash. Trust me. So I think Jack Quaid, Wally West, Michael C. Hall, Barry Allen. We will get to the Reverse Flash, but not yet. Don't worry, we will get there. All right, so we've got Tom Bateman as Batman. We've got Jack Quaid as the Flash. We've got Michael C. Hall as Barry Allen Flash. To complete another one from the big list, Wonder Woman. Now, this is going to be controversial no matter what. This is going to be controversial no matter what. Because why? I don't know. Probably because Wonder Woman's a woman, and if you're a comic book fan and a woman, you just hate everything. So this is what I think. I'm sorry, if you're a comic book fan and not a woman fan, you hate everything. I think Naomi Scott. I want you guys to hear me out before I lose you all, okay? Because I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but people get very spicy about Wonder Woman fan casting because some people think that Wonder Woman should be played by like a blonde white woman. Some people think she shouldn't. Some people think she should be played by just a hot Hollywood A-lister. Some people think that she should be played by somebody who's unknown. That this for some reason, it's so funny, Alistair. I had Margaret Qualley on my list. I had her on my list. She's also on this list. Don't worry, Alistair. Margaret Qualley will be back. I had her as my Wonder Woman, but I switched it to Naomi Scott. The reason I did that, if you look at her performance in Smile 2, which maybe that movie's not for everybody, I really enjoyed it. Her performance in that movie was layered and a lot more robust, had a lot more depth than you would expect from a horror movie final girl. Or I guess you can't call her that, but she's great. She's a great actor. She also, of course, Charlie's Angels and Power Rangers. She was the Pink Ranger in Power Rangers. She's got the action hero, almost like the same vibe as like Ana de Armas, who we may or may not be talking about later. She's got that same vibe where she could do action, she could rough you up, she could maybe block bullets with her little gauntlets, but she could also be a strong and hopeful and powerful woman, which is exactly what Wonder Woman needs to be, a goddess, you know? And if you ask me, Naomi Scott, she could play a goddess. She could do it. I think she'd be a great Wonder Woman. She's a good actor. She has the look. For me, I like my Wonder Woman to look like she's, from another part of the world. I don't think that, like Themyscira would be crawling with blonde white women. So I think it's nice to see a Wonder Woman that isn't that, And I also, again, if we're taking into account this is an actor or this is a character that's going to have to interact with Batman, Superman, The Flash, and if we have the cast in place that we have, David Cornsweet, let's say Tom Bateman, and Jack Quaid, I think that she is blended into that mix very well. And it would be believable that we have this goddess who is in the same age group as these other superheroes that is maybe a little more mature than let's say Jack Quaid, or a little more mature than Superman. And I like that. Okay, look, some of you guys, thank you all. Yes. Huz D21 says, okay, I'd be good with that. Alistair Campbell says he could see it. Just a Guy says she would be great. Yes. Oh, Urinator. That's a great name. Urinator. Don't worry, Robert Downey Jr. is playing every single character in the next Avengers movie, so don't worry. Omega Swiper, yes, I agree, and that's really what I'm looking for is the chemistry, right? I'm looking for, are these actors going to be able to match with each other on screen in the inevitable and eventual Justice League? And I think so. I think we found it. All right, so we've got Bateman, we've got Quaid and Michael C. Hall, we've got Naomi Scott as Wonder Woman. Oh, I hope so. 3D head creeps. I hope Gunn has Wonder Woman as like a war hero of World War II, or even a silent hero of World War II would be nice. I hope so, because that's the thing with the DC. We need that history. We're building out a brand new world. We need, in order to know how long Wonder Woman's been around, we need her to have been in World War II. I would love that. I would fucking love a little flashback to that. Come on, a la in X-Men Origins Wolverine, when they had Wolverine and Sabretooth fighting in all those wars. The movie sucked, but that was a cool flashback, I think. All right, now listen, bring it in, guys. I know that so many of you were disappointed by me not casting everyone's favorite Thad Castle, Alan Ritchson, as Batman. But I'm here to tell you, I'm here to make it up to you guys, because I think that Alan Ritchson would be perfect for the blonde Bruce Wayne. I'm talking about Green Arrow. I think this is perfect casting. Hear me out, and I'm going to make a case for it. Now, everybody likes Alan Ritchson as Bruce Wayne, baby, as Batman. I personally don't like him as Batman. He's too jacked. He's too blonde. He's too pretty. I don't know. There's just something going on here, and I don't like him as Batman, but I do love him as Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow. And I'm going to tell you guys why. If you read the comic books anyway, and I'm not saying that you have to do everything that's in the comics has to be what's on film. I don't care about that as much as some people do. I think it's cool to be original and change things up. But I do think that a good element of Green Arrow from the comic books is that he kind of is the more loud and out Bruce Wayne. He's basically a rich dude who's got expensive tech that he uses to fight crime and protect his city, which in his case is Star City, not Gotham. But he's basically blonde Batman. He's Batman with blonde hair. So, if you ask me, Alan Ritchson fits that bill to a T. He could be, it's like, look, it's like you're getting everything you want because he's playing a similar character to Batman, only it's a character he's better suited for. So you'll get a better performance out of him. You'll get more, more juice out of it. And also, for the love of God, James Gunn, can we get a Green Arrow movie? Please. Hawkeye got a TV show, and I don't like Hawkeye. He's the less cool bow and arrow guy. I like Green Arrow, and if DC isn't going to give me a Green Arrow movie, but Marvel will give me a Hawkeye TV show, shame. Alistair says that, I don't know, Alistair. I don't know if he would be a good Bane. Bane needs to be Mexican, I think, right? Isn't Bane Mexican? Yeah, I think so. Or at least let's not be so boring and make Bane just a really strong guy. Let's do like what we did in that shitty Joel Schumacher one with George Clooney, where Bane is a skinny guy and then he hits the juice and then he's Alan Ritchson, So if we're gonna have Alan Ritchson as Bane, let's have him just muscles out with a mask and doesn't talk, and then we'll have a skinny guy play him. Yeah, I also think this is the thing with Alan Ritchson. Part of the guy's allure is that he's so damn attractive, right? And at least, I mean, I think he's a good-looking guy, obviously, but I would say like most of his internet buzz is because he's hot. Well, if he's Green Arrow, he's just got that little face mask, that little cute green face mask, and then you can see more of his face, his money maker, And obviously, if you guys don't recognize Alan Ritchson, if you ever watched like Blue Mountain State, that's the first thing I recognize him from. But he's also in the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. He was in Titans. He played Hawk from the Hawk and Dove duo. So he's kind of got some, he's got a little bit of like superhero experience. So that can make him, I guess, useful, right? Carlos says he's on roids. Well, I don't know if you're talking about Alan Ritchson or you're talking about me. Okay, maybe I should play Batman. Yeah, I don't know. He is jacked as shit, though. And to me, why would anybody want to look like that? Don't you want to have a life and a donut? Just kidding. Don't let me talk shit on people for being healthy. But if he is taking steroids, you gotta get off those things, man. Not good for you. Yeah, Schumacher's. I actually do think, as much as I don't like the Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin movie, I do think that is the most fun I've ever had with Bane in live action, for sure. Oh yeah, Captain. He'd be good as Captain Atom, but he needs to be like not a hot dude when he's a scientist. That's the problem with all these secret identities. Is that like it's always like some dorky loser dude who sucks before he puts on the suit, and then he puts on the suit and then he's hot. But all these actors are just hot, so it's hard to make. Like, remember trying to make Henry Cavill look like a doofy guy without muscles? That was ridiculous. Picture Henry Cavill trying to do the Clark Kent thing. You don't even have to picture it. You can just see it in the movie. He's way too good looking. He's way too jacked. Having a big suit doesn't do anything when you're the size of Henry Cavill or Alan Richardson. There's no hiding those muscles. You can't look meek, you know? That's kind of the problem with all superhero movies, or with secret identities, I guess. Yeah, all the guys in Hollywood that are over 40 and jacked are on something. Yeah, dude, probably. Yeah, let's not forget Alan Richardson played Aquaman in Smallville. So for those of you that love the CW. No, God, no. Sam Parker says, is there Schwarzenegger? Is there a way Schwarzenegger can make an appearance in Gunn's DCU as a redemption for the Schumacher movie with all those horrible ice punches? If he does make an appearance in the new DCU, I hope it's not as Mr. fucking Freeze. Okay, hopefully it's as somebody that it makes sense for him to play. That's all I can say. But don't worry, we're going to be talking about Mr. Freeze very soon. I actually, not only did I cast Justice League members, I thought it'd be fun to cast a few of the rogues that I like the best, and a little bonus at the end. So. But let's move on. If we've got Tom Bateman as Batman, we're going to need a Catwoman, right? Now, I didn't do Robin and Nightwing because there is already actors in talks for that. I don't want to mess with it. But Catwoman, kind of a necessity. If you're going to have a Batman, you're going to want a Catwoman. And for me, Ana de Armas is Catwoman to me. Shout out her performance in John Wick, which is why I can see this so clearly in my mind. I think that she kind of has everything that Catwoman needs to have. If you guys don't know Ana de Armas, you've seen her in Knives Out, Blade Runner 2049, and of course James Bond, No Time to Die. Oh, Omega Swiper. Don't worry, we're going to be talking about Mr. Freeze, and it's not J.K. Simmons, my man. I like who I have more, but I like J.K. Simmons as Mr. Freeze, but you're going to like who I have. So stick around, don't go anywhere. Omega says Ana de Armas is sultry, so fine. I don't know what the word sultry means, so I'm not going to agree with you. But she's a wonderful actor. Obviously, she's a beautiful woman, and I think she could play Catwoman because to me, Catwoman needs to be the girl that can join in on the heist and is probably most likely to pull it off. You know, she needs to be a few steps ahead, while also not quite as sharp as Batman. Like, she needs to be able to trick Batman, manipulate him, be a little bit ahead of him. Not be better, just maybe a little, she needs to be kind of distracting to Batman. And I think Ana de Armas, with Tom Bateman as Batman specifically, I think that is a dynamic that would really work, because you would have this confident, kind of sexy Catwoman, and then you would have this kind of charming, wild boy Bruce Wayne that turns into the stoic Batman. It just, to me, it seems like those are two characters played by actors that like, whose paths would actually cross, and good chemistry. Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. Good casting, says Hus D21. Thank you, Alistair, for having no issue with it. Yeah, listen, Catwoman, for some people, it's not a big deal because she just needs to be like in a, you know, she's going to have a suit on and goggles and you're not really going to see who she is anyway. She just kind of needs to be like, you know, sexy is kind of the thing for Catwoman. And so I guess in that regard, that's what most people see. Because I think, guys, you gotta sometimes you gotta look beyond the looks. You gotta look at, am I going to enjoy seeing this person do the things that Catwoman does? You know, it goes way beyond attraction to these people. Not every superhero can just play that superhero because they're hot, you know? Although many of you think that she is hot, and that's okay too. Luckily, sometimes you get everything you want. Sometimes you get hot and talented, right? All right, moving on from Catwoman, I think no Justice League is complete without Martian Manhunter. And some beef I had with Zack Snyder was he really held back on the Martian Manhunter stuff. It took us until we got the Snyder cut, really, to get any Martian Manhunter stuff. And I love John Jones, Martian Manhunter. And for me, Coleman Domingo is perfect. He's perfect. And let me tell you guys why. Martian Manhunter, one, he's a black character. So don't go calling me woke, telling me, oh, you're woke. Okay, I don't care. Maybe I am. So what? Who gives a shit? But what I'm saying is, John Jones is a black character, and he's supposed to have a deep and threatening and iconic voice. And Coleman Domingo has that voice. In fact, Coleman Domingo did the voice of Batman. So how about that? He's voiced Batman. So how about it? Okay? You know he's got that voice. He's got that powerful voice. And I just see it. He's supposed to be a shape-shifting alien who's got like infinite power, kind of like Vision. He's supposed to be kind of like Vision, you know? And dude, if you ask me, Coleman Domingo would nail this. This is the kind of superhero he is perfect for, because this is a very cerebral character. This is a character that's evolved past human, you know, because the character is an alien. So we need somebody who can play intelligent, who can play suave and calm and charming. We need somebody with gravitas. We need somebody who can step up and be the hero. And I think Coleman Domingo literally is all of those things. If you haven't seen him in anything, Fear the Walking Dead is what he's most known for. I haven't seen that, but I have seen clips, and he's great. The Madness, which I have seen, awesome. And Drive Away Dolls, which I've also seen, decent movie, but he is awesome in it. Husdy, if take it from me, watch The Madness. If you want to see how good of a performer Coleman Domingo is, watch The Madness or the last Black Man in San Francisco, I think it's called. Also a good one. I watched that. I watched that kind of on a whim last year. Not my usual type of movie, but I fell in love with it. So check it out. Check him out. Coleman Domingo. Okay, real quick, let's recap what we have so far on the list. Okay, we've got Tom Bateman as Bruce Wayne, Batman. We've got Jack Quaid and Michael C. Hall as Barry Allen and Wally West, The Flash. We've got Naomi Scott as Wonder Woman, which I was surprised. I thought most of you, that's where I would lose you, and most of you agreed with me on that one. So, yes. Mr. Bucketman says Schwarzenegger as Commissioner Gordon and Stallone as Alfred. Yo, Bruce. Yo, Bruce. Yo, Bruce. And then Commissioner Gordon. Batman, it's bad. Mr. Freeze. Oh, Candyman, that was not Coleman Domingo. Just a guy. That was I can't pronounce his name. But that was not Coleman Domingo. So we got Naomi Scott as Wonder Woman. We have Alan Ritchson as the Green Arrow. Okay. We have Martian Manhunter, played by Coleman Domingo, and Ana de Armas as Catwoman. What about Cyborg? Now, Cyborg, this is a tough one, because some of you will see Cyborg and think of the Teen Titans. Some of you will see him and think of the Justice League. I just see him as a character that could be in either one. And for me, Winston Duke is perfect for Cyborg. I want my Cyborg to be a little older. I don't want him to be young. I don't want him to be in college. I think maybe the Victor Stone, character, we'll just age him up a little bit, and maybe he's already an adult. Oh, that's right, just a guy. Yes. Actually, I don't know if that's. Did he? I don't know. Yeah, well, listen, Omega Swiper, you got to let go of the Snyder Cut, my friend. It's over. Ray Fisher is not Cyborg anymore. He could have been great. He was in the Snyder Cut. It's over now. Unfortunately. I'm not saying I don't like Ray Fisher, but I'm saying Winston Duke from Black Panther, from Us, this guy could play Cyborg. Because also, he's got the... Could you imagine Winston Duke going, booyah? Yeah, you can. You can. If you look at his performance in Us, the Jordan Peele film, there's a little bit of Cyborg in there. He's a little more of a pussy in that movie, so he's not all the way Cyborg. But if you were to compare, or like if you were to combine his character in Black Panther and his character in Us, booyah, you got Cyborg. So if you ask me, this is probably one of the easiest casts I had. Like making this list was tricky. Mickey Rourke as Cyborg? What the hell? No. No. But if you ask me, this was one of the easy ones. Like, I struggled casting my Batman. I struggled casting the Flash. I didn't struggle at all with Cyborg. I knew right away. I was like, oh, Winston Duke, he's got it. He's got it. to respond to Ethan Ailman, hello, thank you for being here, Ethan. Batman is the most important casting, and we have already covered it. So if you want to see that, I'll spoil it for you. I cast Tom Bateman as Batman. Tom Batman. You know? All right. So we've got, Winston Duke as Cyborg. It's just obvious to me. I just think that that's like, you know, like, honestly, it's easy casting. It's easy casting. He's so perfect for that. It's not just a looks thing. If you watch Us, I keep wanting to say no, but if you watch Us, he's got that charm, that cyborg kind of immaturity that is good. He was great. There's this part in Us. This is going to be kind of a deep cut reference, but if you've seen Us, there's this part in Us where when the doppelgangers first show up at the door, he goes outside, Winston Duke, trying to be intimidating, and you can hear there's this part where you can hear his voice. You can hear he's so scared trying to sound tough. It's so good. He's trying to sound tough, and he goes, "If you're standing outside, you should know the police are already." And then he goes, "Oh no way!" And he says it really deep, but you can hear it's coming from a place of fear and not toughness. And to me, like, it's just, gosh, man, it's a hell of a performance. Super underrated. Bateman is Bateman. Bale, and without the E is Batman. Okay, well, that was a tongue twister from Omega Swiper. Bateman is Bateman Bale, and without the E is Batman. Well, while I know that Bateman without the E certainly is Batman, if that's what we're talking about, then there you go. All right, guys. So we've got our heroes, and there are some more, but we also need to cast some rogues, because to me, if you have Batman has the best villains. In my opinion, the Flash has some good ones. Batman has the best villains in DC. So I did cast some rogues for our guys, and I want to go over those with you before time is up. So I do want to say, oh, okay, hold on. First of all, I have to clarify. Gotcha. Yeah, Bateman, as in Patrick Bateman, who Christian Bale played in American Psycho, and Tom Bateman, which is Batman without. Yes, got it. Okay, Reverse Flash. I know a lot of you liked Michael C. Hall, who was my pick for Barry Allen. I think for the Reverse Flash, somebody who hates Barry Allen and Wally West, I think Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And of course, his performance in Blackberry should clue you. Actually, his performance in Always Sunny should convince you that he'd be a good villain, because he's absolutely a villain. But in Blackberry, he plays an actual antagonist. And to me, that was everything I needed to see. He can play hatred. He can play heady. He can play kind of a piece of shit. You know, he kind of plays a piece of shit pretty good. And I think that Reverse Flash is a piece of shit. I think. Wait, what? Oh, that's for American Psycho. Yeah. No, Alistair, Omega is saying Christian Bale played Bateman in the original American Psycho. He's not saying that Tom Bateman should play him in American Psycho. Yeah, Glenn Howerton is a good creep. Andrew Machado says, "Oh, I like Glenn Howerton. He's a good creep." He is. He's not only a good creep, he's kind of a good sociopath, you know? Like he's good at the artificial, superficial charm, you know, where he kind of seems smooth and smarmy, but he's really just an evil, selfish narcissist under whatever smile he's giving you. And that is the Reverse Flash. Oh, you think I didn't see the Always Sunny collab on Abbott Elementary, Andrew? You're tripping, dog. I saw the poster advertising it. So I'm going to watch it. Don't worry. So Glenn Howerton is the Reverse Flash. To me, I could see him kind of having a hatred for Michael C. Hall's The Flash, but also like a new hatred for Jack Quaid. Now, Mr. Freeze. I have to pin this one. Urinator says, "Let's keep the trend of fucking up the Joker and cast Pete Davidson next." Ooh, please don't. I like Pete Davidson, but please don't cast him as the Joker. Just a Guy. I know Bret Easton Ellis is saying that, but Bret Easton Ellis does not own the movie rights to American Psycho. It is happening. Luca Guadagnino is making it, and Austin Butler's in it. So it unfortunately, I mean, maybe not. I like Luca Guadagnino, and he's perfect for American Psycho. So maybe it'll be good. It is happening, though. It is happening. All right. Now, for me, Mr. Freeze, Giancarlo Esposito, who, of course, we all know from Breaking Bad, but he was also in, he played the devil in Monkey Bone, which is a really funny movie that he's in. The Boys, Maxine, this guy's everywhere. He's been everywhere, especially lately. And I think this is something, I think the internet has talked about this. When I was doing my research, I think I saw him come up at least a couple times. It was either him or Bryan Cranston. But I think that if we're talking Breaking Bad actors that could play Mr. Freeze, before Bryan Cranston, I would love to see Giancarlo Esposito play Victor Freeze. Because, look, I grew up in the 90s. I'm just going to get this out of the way. The Mr. Freeze that I fuck with the most is Mr. Freeze, like Heart of Ice, Batman the Animated Series. I'm just going to get that out there so that way we all understand my vision when I say I need a hopeless romantic who would kill and do anything, even the worst things, for his wife. And I think that Giancarlo Esposito looks like a guy who maybe was a nice guy that fucking went evil, that lost his marbles along the way and has since developed into a villain. That is exactly what I'm getting from Giancarlo Esposito as Mr. Freeze. And that's what I want. So, bam, there you go. I'm actually really stoked on that one. That was another one, maybe a little easy, a little low-hanging fruit because it's so, on the nose, but it's just perfect for me. I got something different, though, for Poison Ivy. I know some of you are going to disagree because Sophia Lillis is very young. She's, I think, 20 or 21. She's like a kid. But I think she would make a damn good Poison Ivy. And I think it would be cool to do a very young Poison Ivy that could maybe at some point have some sort of friendship or mentorship with the Bat family. I think it'd be cool if a 21-year-old Poison Ivy and a 21-year-old Batgirl had some kind of, relationships. Not it doesn't have to be romantic, but just some kind of friendship or mentor relationship before Poison Ivy goes full evil. Now, also, if you haven't seen the Oz Perkins movie, I know everybody loves Oz Perkins since Longlegs came out. But if you're like me and you were watching Oz Perkins movies before Longlegs, like a true hipster, Gretel and Hansel, starring Sophia Lillis as Gretel, at the end of that movie, spoilers, at the end of that movie, she's a witch and she's got nature power. She can control plants, just like Poison Ivy. By the end of that movie. So she's kind of perfect for this in that way. She's kind of got this woodland creature look to her. She looks like a fucking leprechaun. And I mean that, as not an insult, I hope. But she kind of, she's got this woodland kind of, she looks like she would live amongst the plants, honestly. And I think that she could kill it as Poison Ivy. Yeah, Sam says she wouldn't even need to change her costume from the D&D movie. I know. Look, she's wearing it. She's basically already dressed like Poison Ivy or Peter Pan. I couldn't tell. Is she Poison Ivy or... That'd be a fun game. Look at this picture of Sophia Lillis and tell us if she's Poison Ivy or Peter Pan. Was she in what? Omega Swiper, can you clarify what you're talking about? Yeah, I think a Harley and Ivy movie would be okay. You would need to get a really good... I didn't even bother with Joker and Harley on this casting list because we've seen them so many times. And I don't know, man. I still think Margot Robbie... I'm one of those people where I think anybody can be recast for the most part. But maybe not like Indiana Jones or something. But for the most part, I think any character can be recast. But I don't know... Oh yeah, she was in It. Omega. Yeah, she played Beverly in the Andy Muschietti It movies. Yep. But I think that that if you do a Harley and Ivy movie, it would be hard to replace Margot Robbie. I think because even for those of you that haven't seen Joker Folie à Deux, I still haven't seen it either. But I've heard that Lady Gaga did a fine job, even though the movie I heard was bad. I heard that she was okay in it. I just think if you're going to do a new... I don't know. I'm done with Joker and Harley stuff for now. I have officially have officially tired of the Joker and Harley Quinn. You know, I think we're good. I think we're okay on that for a while. I think the Joker is the best comic book villain of all time, but I think as a result, we should let him rest for a little fucking while. You know, Wendell Bro 83 agrees. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch a lot of wrestling, Omega Swiper, but my brother would definitely know who Liv Morgan is. So, all right, let's get back to the Rogue. So we had, we had Glenn Howerton as the Reverse Flash, which I thought was brilliant, if I do say so, my damn self. We had Giancarlo Esposito as Mr. Freeze, which again, kind of just easy, low-hanging fruit casting, you know? I think the Glenn Howerton angle is maybe a little more impressive. You know, it's a little like more obscure casting, I guess. Sophia Lillis as Poison Ivy, I'm proud of that, and I stand by it. I think that if you want a Poison Ivy that you're not obligated to try to sexualize, then it's good, you know, to get somebody that is too young to be doing all that, you know? And then maybe we can focus on the character and not the mystique of the character, you know? All right, Two-Face. Two-Face. Oh, Nerd Cage Live. Hey, what's up? Thank you for being here, Nerd Cage. Hello. Now, I think Harvey Dent Two-Face should be played by Will Poulter. I also think Regé-Jean Page could play Two-Face. But here's what I think. I think if you have a young Batman, you need a young Harvey Dent. I think you can have a young Batman and an old Mr. Freeze, or a young Batman and an old Penguin, or a young Batman and an old Hugo Strange, or whatever. But you need to have Batman or Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent. They need to be around the same age, in my opinion. I think it's better if you have them be the same age. And I think Will Poulter could definitely do this. I think, oh, you're on your way to work? Awesome. Well, I'm glad I can give you something to listen to while you're on the way to work, man. Oh, good. Okay, some of you like this. Yeah, I think Will Poulter, here's why. Harvey Dent needs to be charming. He needs to be larger than life. He needs to be confident. He needs to be kind of suave. He needs to have his, you know, his reputation of being a little bit of a hot shot, a little bit of a renegade. He needs to have that. But he also, when he turns into Two-Face, he needs to have that other side of him that is sadistic and evil and wants to hurt you. Boom. Lindell Harvey Dent was not in movies, I guess. Yes. He was black in the Tim Burton films. Obviously he was played by oh my God, Billy D. Williams, of course. But yeah, I think in the comic books, Two-Face was white, you know, originally. So I don't know. Not that it matters to me. I have no problem with any of that stuff. If for all I give a shit, you can make Superman black. I do not care. It's all about the performance. It's all about the actor. It's all about what they bring to it. To me, how they look really doesn't have that much to do with it. But if you're gonna have somebody play Two-Face, they do need to be handsome, and that could be anybody, literally anybody. I do not care. I chose Will Poulter because he's got the goods as Harvey Dent. Okay. This is another one, like I said, Regé-Jean Page easily could have done this because he's charming and he's cute and he can be a little bit dark. But to me, yeah, this was kind of like kind of perfect for me, Will Poulter. Yeah, you know, the problem with Two-Face in live action, obviously everybody loves Aaron Eckhart. I think that's his name, as Two-Face in The Dark Knight. Yeah, I haven't gotten the Two-Face that I love yet. I didn't love him in The Dark Knight. Absolutely did not love Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face. I mean, I thought it was fun for what it was, just not for me. I think either way, the other half of his face should be blue. I don't think it matters if he's black or white. I think either way, have his face be blue on the other half. Okay, so Sam, I did actually consider Daniel Radcliffe because I think he would be good as the evil side of Two-Face. I just don't really. I know he's got range. I just don't really see him being believable as Harvey Dent. I love Daniel Radcliffe, but I just don't see him being like a hotshot lawyer. I can't see. I can see Will Poulter being a lawyer. All right, guys. So we've casted so far everybody. The only thing left to do is a little bonus for you guys, and we're going to be casting the Watchmen in the DCU. Now, hear me out, okay? James Gunn recently did an interview saying he doesn't want to touch Watchmen in his DCU because he loves Alan Moore too much. But he also said, but I do love Watchmen, which to me means maybe he'll do something, okay? I love the Watchmen TV series from HBO. It's an original story, not an adaptation of the graphic novel, and it worked really well. But I also think try to adapt the graphic novel again. I know Alan Moore hates it. I don't care that he hates it. I want to see it, you know? It's not about him anymore. He made it for us. Ooh, Mel Gibson as a comedian would have been good, and he almost played the comedian. All right, you guys want to see who I got? Here we go. We're going to do this one kind of a lightning round, okay? So I won't spend too much time talking about every individual character, but these are just the general castings that I thought would be fun. I thought Michael Fassbender would be a perfect Dr. Manhattan. Let me know if you guys agree. Fassbender is an amazing actor. He played Magneto already, so we know he can do supervillain stuff. But I think his performance as David in Prometheus kind of made him prime as Doctor, because he needs to be devoid of human emotion, kind of, right? Too caught up in his own his own existence to care. I think Wyatt Russell would make a perfect Night Owl 2. That's Dan Dryberg, not Hollis Mason. He was played by Patrick Wilson in the 2009 movie. So Wyatt Russell for that. Dan Stevenson, I think, would make the perfect Ozymandias. Tell me if you guys agree with this or not, but honestly, like, that's got to be the most perfect one in this lineup is Dan Stevenson as Ozymandias. Has to be. He's perfect. If you guys didn't see him in Abigail, you didn't see him in Cuckoo, he had a really good year. Dan Stevenson had a hell of a year, as a matter of fact. He was great this year. All right, next we've got Silk Spectre 2, which is Lori, I can't say her last name. Silk Spectre. I think Alexandra Daddario. This makes sense to me. I don't know. This one feels a little bit like a cop-out, right? I just picked like a girl with brown hair to be, and I just think she could do it, but I also couldn't think of a better pick, so I kind of just threw this one in there. All right. Yes, I'm aware that Watchmen, the TV show, is a direct sequel to the graphic novel, but it is not based on any source material. It was original, written as a sequel. Is who Ray's son? No, Ray Stevenson? No, I don't think he's Ray Stevenson's son. I'm pretty sure he's not. Ray Stevenson played the Punisher, though. That was pretty cool. All right, I think Cameron Monaghan would be a good Rorschach. This dude played the Joker in Gotham, and he did it well, and he kind of gave off some of those noir vibes. Nah, Fassbender is too old. Fassbender is too old to play Ozymandias. He could play him in, like Fassbender could have played Ozymandias in the Watchmen TV series, where Jeremy Irons played him, for sure, but he's too young, or too old to play Ozymandias now. Or young, anyway. All right, and then I got Carl Urban as the comedian. Now, I do think Mel Gibson would be good, but I think Carl Urban is kind of ideal for this. He does have the look, but he also played Butcher in The Boys, and come on. I mean, if we're like splitting hairs over which characters are similar, there's a lot of DNA from the comedian inside of Butcher from The Boys. So Carl Urban, I think, makes a wonderful comedian. AKA, what's his name? Eddie Blake. Oh, Michael Fassbender is Oxy because that would make sense, but also wouldn't it make sense to have Fassbender play Dr. Manhattan because of Alien? Right? Because of Prometheus? I think so. All right, guys. So that was my fan casting. I'm actually really stoked. I kind of spent all day going, the audience is going to hate me for this. Everybody's going to think I did such a bad job at casting these people, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I agree, Andrew. He would have to tone down his accent to do it, but he could do it. He played Dredd, and he didn't have an accent in that movie. So, yeah, so that's my casting. I'm pretty stoked. I spent all day worried about it, but going through it here, looking at it in front of me, if this was the lineup for James Gunn's new DCU, I'd say I did a pretty good fucking job. Whoa, now I'm out of focus. All right, guys. It is a little after 7, so I know we hate you. Thank you, Nerd Cage. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you. I did really thank you, Omega Swiper. Thank you. You guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate. I seriously thought you guys would turn on me at some point. It seems like for the most part, we were able to just keep the conversation flowing and everybody was having fun with it. So that makes me really happy, and it means a lot to me that you guys would show up and entertain my fictional fantasy fan casting, you know? So thank you all. I'm gonna see you guys next Friday. I do have some ideas for what we're gonna do next Friday, but I want to say this: if you guys would like to see more guests on the show, let me know who from the channel or just from around you would like to see on the show. I would like in 2025 to have a little more frequency in terms of having guests, and I'm relying on you guys to tell me who you would like to stare at for over an hour, besides me, of course. All right, everybody. All right, I'm gonna let you go. It's Friday, which means most of you guys are probably headed out to the movies. I know I probably am tonight, so I'm gonna get out of here. But as usual, please like the video, please subscribe, and don't forget to pick up your mother friggin' Joe Blow merchandise. Woo! We got movie quotes, we got mugs, we got logo stuff. So if you guys are interested in supporting us, supporting the channel, go pick up some merch. And obviously, the more merch that we sell, the more new merch we'll get. So if you guys want new designs and stuff, go buy some. Sierra, yes, I am live right now, but only for like the next minute or so. Sorry about that. Yeah, Tyler from Joe Blow. Of course, Tyler's one of my best friends. I would love that. I mean, we've had Tyler on before. I love Tyler. I love when he does his tangents. I love his Ridley Scott bit. You guys have probably seen that. Yes, I got to have Lance on. Lance and Chris. I want to have Lance and Chris on the show. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely let us know. Oh, Nerd Cage, sick. You bought some Joe Blow merch. Thank you so much. When you get your merch, take a picture and send it to me. And if you want to, I'll put it on the show. We'll give you a little shout out. Murphy Law, thank you for being here. Congrats on your first time at our party. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We're going to be back next Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, guys. Every Friday, you can find me here. We're going to be talking movies, doing it up, all live, all the time. All right, everybody. I love you so much. You guys are the best. And I guess with all that being said, let's lay the outro and get the hell out of here. Peace out.